Welcome back to the channel. Out here, probably our last summer scouting trip. Still in Texas, public land. It's another place that I haven't been before, and you'll see compared to the last video, it looks like we're in a completely different state. It's a lot greener here, a lot better big trees for climbing. This year when we try doing the saddle hunting, Friday, August 15th, and just gonna get in here and check some spots that look good on Onyx, some of the e-scouting that I've done. It's a pretty long drive to get here, so I'll probably spend a few hours walking around by myself today, but I'll take you guys along with us, see if we can find any deer sign anyways. It's pretty hot today. I think it's about 99 degrees, a little bit after lunch right now, so we're gonna start easing back into some of these bedding areas, and not only looking for deer sign, but spots that would set up good depending on which way the wind's blowing. If we find a good tree, keep notes on the pin on Onyx. It'd be good whether it's hot or when it's cold, north wind or south wind, crosswind. Just all those notes for stand locations. That way, if I come in here on a weekend or middle of the week front or something, I know which stand's going to be best and how to get there without spooking everything. So stay tuned and I'll show you what I find back here. First thing I found here, we come out on the edge of this kind of hardwood tree line. It's got some old burn in it. Big grass field off this way. Tree line here. It's kind of an intersection. These two trees make an L with an opening on that side. Big opening out here. There's some water that a creek down there is holding water too. I don't know if you guys see that or not. It's a good little water spot on this intersecting, and some deer tracks right here. Looks like they've been crossing. Fairly fresh, but I could see putting a saddle in that tree. Be about a 15-yard shot to this water. Not very far in right here. I don't know if there's a lot of pressure. This wouldn't be good because most people are going to walk through here on their way by. But a couple of good large trees, canopy that we could set up in. If there's nobody at the parking area and the wind is right, this would be an easy spot to slip into for a morning hunt. So we'll mark this, keep walking. There's a handful of ponds off of this creek that we're going to go look at here shortly. I don't see a whole lot of sign, but it's hard to see tracks in this grass. Or just kind of trails in here. Cutting across this open kind of grass field from that last tree edge that we were on. We've got, I don't know if y'all can see it on the camera, there's a pretty good deer trail I'm following here. Headed right towards the pond. It's just on the other side. If you follow this trail, the pond's over by this kind of lone trees out in the middle. Seems like most of the sign out in this field would be kind of nighttime feeding areas, but see, there's a large concentration around that pond bed hill. A couple beds where they've got the grass matted down. Coming over the hill to this pond area now. The wind is definitely not in our favor to sneak in here today. My camera cut off, not real sure why, but I don't know how much of that it recorded. I was saying though, I found some beds in this kind of taller grass right on the edge of this pond area on top of the hill, and the wind's not very good for our approach today. But one thing I'm keeping in mind, like, still got about a month until archery season. We're working north to this pond right now. Got a pretty hard south wind, which is typical for this time of year, but after hunting season starts and we get a cold front, the wind shifts. It'd be a good time to come in here, set up for an evening hunt. I'm gonna work this pond edge and see what kind of sign there is, and then move on to the next area that I want to look at. Trail coming this way. The one that I'm working kind of intersect right on the leeward side of this pond dam. So a hill protecting this side. You would be able to see a deer walking through here. Then kind of some brushy area here where possibly sit on the ground and catch them coming through this funnel. Just little subtle terrain changes like this, kind of what I'm keeping an eye out for too. A couple of cranes. Came out of that tree thicket right there, so I'm thinking there's going to be some water down there. Pretty safe bet. It's a pretty decent trail I'm following down to where those cranes just popped out. Surprised we haven't kicked anything out of a bed yet, but how hot it is right now, they may be down in that creek bottom, in the shade, instead of this tall grass where the sun's beating down. That could all change in the winter, but kind of what we're looking at right now. Seen a few beds out here, but kind of thinking most of it's nighttime sign since we haven't kicked anything or seen anything. You can see a long ways out here right now. Some water back there. This creek's not dried up. And being mid-August, if it's holding water now, it'll definitely have water in hunting season this fall. So it's kind of like in the last video, that pond I found that was dry doesn't necessarily mean it'll be dry if we get a wet fall into summer, heavy rains, but that's why I like looking at them now when it's so dry out. Get an idea for if it's an annual water source or just holds water sometimes. This spot, it's dried up there, but if it's got this much water still holding in August, it's a pretty safe bet there'll be water here. September, there's few deer tracks around it. branches and seeing what I can find. Spot there, nestle up in that tree. You have a really good bow shot. Something came into the water on one of these trails. Fairly fresh deer tracks there. Right over there, some coming out to get drinks. So. That one's fairly small, probably a doe, but a 3-finger track right there. Right there. Walking in. There's some more older sign on this side. Need to get better at my tree identification. I'd like to know which one of these or what of these trees are feed trees, but I'm still learning that. I've got an app on my phone. I'm going to take some pictures of these leaves. See if I can find out if we got any acorn trees or persimmon trees. Might be a persimmon there, I'm not sure. That pond's right there. I wanted to slip into the edge of the timber and I just saw some deer. Not 50 yards in here, so ease up here and see where they were laying at. You can. This would be a pretty good spot. I couldn't tell if it was a doe or a buck, but there was at least 2 of them that got up and popped off there. A lot of tracks in this old dry bottom. Plenty of good trees that we could climb. There's a good trail coming in there, and the trail I came in on kind of converges right here into one. Oh, there's something. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the camera off, keep slipping in here right along this edge and see what I can find. But I like these hinge cut trees like this where the wind's blowing them over. kind of creates little travel corridors, kind of a funnel through here. A lot of good straight trees. Just sit in with the saddle. I like that one's got, you can sit up there about 10 foot with the wind blowing out. And it would be a pretty good spot in here, I think. I don't know if y'all can tell in the video or not how deep that is, but I bet it's 20 foot down there, 20 foot up the other side. Pretty good riverbed. Some crossing in there. A good trail right along the edge of it. I'm gonna try and find where the trail is that actually crosses it so I can get down without falling and see what kind of tracks are on it. There's a lot of sign in this river bottom. I'm gonna walk this river bottom for a little while. Stay down where my wind's not affecting it so much and mark some of the trails that cross because it's pretty steep. I don't think a deer is going to jump off that unless if they're pushed. So find the places they're using now to cross it. Look for some potential ambush spots there. Pretty good trail coming down right there. this river. A lot more shaded. I just came up that crossing, and we're kind of on a island here. In order to get to this side, this little finger, the river makes a horseshoe around it. The other side of it's butted up against private, so might be a little place to check out once this place gets pressured. If it's passable across the river, even if you gotta use some hip boots. Kind of got a reference to how where the bottom is now, so if there's some water come fall, we can look at possibilities of getting over here. But I'm gonna go wander around a little bit on this, see if there's anything over here to take note of before I cross the river again. I'll let you know what I find. Over on this island, got an intersection of about 3 trails here, on the edge of this clearing. Go to that river crossing. If you were to get a saddle in that tree up there, it's about a 25-yard shot to where it comes in. And then that down tree right there, they're either going to go on the trail on that side, at which point you might be able to squeeze a shot on the back. There's a little window, or they're going to come through the trail on this side and be right under the tree that I'm sitting in. It's a perfect example of a choke point. That would be an awesome evening set. Get them coming through there back down to the river. Easing in here until I get close to that property line. There was something real big. Just took off in the brush over there. I was walking this property line. I don't know if it was a deer or a pig. It made a lot of noise though. Fence line and somebody's deer stand, so if they're feeding already, it could have been pigs bedded back here. Trying to see if it went out that way. one sure was big. I think it made too much noise to be a deer. Thinking there was probably a herd of hogs bedded right there. Kind of snuck up on them. I'm just gonna keep easing this way. See what I can find up here. Log jam right there. Good trails coming up the river to this watering hole. And it opens up into another little island. Public that puts up next to that private feeder we saw earlier. This is one part of sign I'm always looking for when I'm scouting too. Somebody else's boot print going to that water hole and walking down the river. So somebody else has been scouting it too, but or at least hiking down here. Big squirrels right here. She seems like it'd be a really good spot to find a deer right now. I'm gonna keep working this edge back out towards another pond I want to look at. It's kind of thick, so I'm gonna turn the camera off, but hopefully if I see anything, I can get the camera turned back on quick enough to share it. Found some old acorn. said, I'm not real good at IDing trees, but I know what an acorn top looks like when I see one, so definitely have an oak tree here. I do believe that's the oak tree right there, but I could not tell you if it is a white oak or a red oak. It definitely dropped some acorns last year though, so I'm trying to see if there's any buds. If anybody watching this knows, let me know in the comments what kind of tree you think this is. Let's see, there's all scattered in the dirt here. Old acorn tops. Assuming from last year, but they're all rotted out. Those came off of it too. So looks like it might be the same kind of tree right there. Right up there. Those look like what I've seen oak leaves been called before, but yeah, there's some more acorn holes there. Like I say, if you know what that is in the comments, red oak or white oak, or some other kind of oak, let me know. This could potentially be a good spot for a feed tree pattern if I can identify when they're going to drop. Here's another dead branch that's got acorn tops on it, so it's definitely some sort of oak tree. Well, just about made it back to the car. Didn't really see anything else worth talking about. I got to that other pond. Looks just like the other one, handful of tracks around it, but the grass has grown up so much right to the edge of the water you can't really see or tell what you're looking at anyways. But this will probably be the last scouting trip of the year where I'm actually hiking. I don't want to get too intrusive much later in the year than this. We've got about a month, 5 or 6 weeks, I think, till opening day archery season. We'll be videoing that. A new saddle's supposed to be here Monday. Pretty excited about trying it. That's why I've been scouting some of these trees and just trying to figure out what I'm going to do with that. Hopefully it works and you guys see some footage of that coming soon. I've got a pretty interesting take on the saddle and sticks that I got and harness, and probably have a video coming out kind of reviewing that and showing a cheap way to get into it without compromising too much, and then some DIY modifications to the ones that I did get that'll show just how I'm using them and some pointers that I got for them. So stay tuned for that. Appreciate y'all watching the video. Hope you guys learned something or take something away from it. Kind of the way that I come out in the summer, not really expecting to see deer, but it's what I'm looking for this fall. Stay ready. Click that subscribe button and check back soon for the next video. Thanks.